Hey, good afternoon, folks. Thanks for coming in. I want to have a discussion about the core processes. Um, we've been going around the region to assist in areas where we feel that there's some gains that need to be made in relationship to the core processes, where we're struggling in reliability, cost, PMI noncompliance, red tags, and we're coming around because we want to help and assist get these core processes in place. They're pretty straightforward things. They're pretty straightforward processes. We've talked about them many times. But for whatever reason, we seem to struggle in getting them in place. So I wanted to go through them and review them. I wanted to talk to you about the importance of several different core processes, including the PMI. Um, when it comes to doing a quality PMI or quality repairs, we really can't negotiate on the importance of doing quality work and quality repairs. Because when you look at everything that we're responsible for, as the automotive team, the management team, when you take everything that we do and you boil it down, it really boils down to two different things. We're responsible to provide safe, reliable equipment each and every day at a cost-effective price, and we're required to protect the interests of the company. And we cannot do that unless we're doing a good quality PMI, and following the core processes ensures that we do that. So what are the core processes? And what are the expectations? We're going to have a meeting with every one of your technicians at the PCMs, and both in the morning and in the evening. We're going to cover all the shifts, and we're going to have a discussion with each and every one of them to ensure that they also know the core processes, and the management team here understands and knows how to follow and implement those core processes. So what are we talking about? Number one, we talked about doing a great PMI, right? But you can't begin to do a great PMI unless you got a good work schedule, good solid work schedule. What's a good solid work schedule? A good solid work schedule is one that's been built with the help of the technician, with the involvement of the technician. Now that in many cases may require a phone call conversation because you don't see these folks in person, but there has to be interaction between the supervisor and the mechanic technician to ensure that the work schedule is done properly, that both the technician and the supervisor agree that everything that needs to be on that is on that work schedule. And then we need to insist that they follow that work schedule. But first, we're going to start with the PMI. We're going to have a discussion with each and every technician in the operation, as well as all the management folks, and we're going to clarify that everybody is to do a PMI on day one. Day one of the work week is non-negotiable for a PMI. Regardless of the hours that it takes, the technician's not to go home until that PMI is done on day one. With certain exceptions with the tractor fleet, if we have issues in the tractor fleet that require us to get EDVRs completed in order to get the fleet out, in order to get the trailers moving, the tractor supervisor can make that choice, make that decision to roll it to the second day. But we're still going to complete all PMIs by day 3 of the work schedule. Now, after the technician completes that PMI, every PMI will remain in the shop to be audited as long as there is a management person present. So if we're in this building, and this is one of those buildings where we have management folks present, no technician will put a vehicle back in service without another audit being performed on it by a management person. Why do we want to do that? We want to ensure that we get a good quality PMI. We want to help educate the technician on his shortcomings, help him to get better at performing a quality PMI, and help him understand that and clarify our expectations of quality when it comes to that PMI. After they finish their PMIs during the week, we want them to know and understand at the end of each work schedule, at the end of each work shift, they're not to be dismissed as long as a management person is present. They are to check in with the management person to validate what was completed on their work schedule and ensure that the work schedules were completed satisfactorily and 100% for that day, and that the supervisor is satisfied with the completion of that work schedule. You know, some of these core processes are pretty straightforward. They're pretty simple. We've talked about them many times. But we haven't clarified the expectation with our technicians in many cases. Technicians wrongfully assume that they don't have to finish their work schedule. We've allowed them to think that. They wrongfully assume that they don't have to do a quality PMI. We've allowed them to think that when we don't audit PMIs. We need to clarify the expectations, make sure they know and understand they will be staying. You're going to have a discussion with each one of the technicians this evening and tomorrow morning and review our expectations of the core processes. They're not going to be dismissed until they're done. These are all union mechanics, and they have to abide by the contract. And they will work as directed, and they will complete their work schedule. And in many cases, you'll get some pushback. You know, they'll work the overtime, they'll push back with overtime. That's all right. The bottom line is, we need them to complete their schedule. Because what I've seen in many occasions, and we've done no less than a half a dozen locations where we've implemented this, up front, we end up with some overtime. But very quickly, within a matter of a couple of weeks, the person who's used to working eight and a half hours goes back to eight and a half hours. And he's getting the job done. So we're gonna get work schedules, good quality work schedules completed, ensure that they're completed for this week, the beginning of this process that you're putting in place. Good quality work schedules with the mechanics. If you have to delay a day to get that done, let's get that in place. We're gonna clarify with each and every one of the technicians in the building what the core processes are, what the expectations are. PMI done day 1. All PMIs completed by day 3. No technician is to leave the property without reviewing with a management person as long as a management person is present. And that also goes for the PMI audit. No PMI leaves the shop as long as there's a management person present to audit it. We're going to clarify these expectations. We're going to put them in place. We're going to reduce the non-compliance. We're going to reduce the red tags. We're going to increase the quality work that we expect our folks to do on both the PMIs and the PMI repairs. We're going to help you get these processes in place. And the expectation is that when we leave down the road in a week from today, you're going to maintain these core processes and insist that folks get the job done every day. We're going to clarify those expectations, and we're going to get this operation, help you folks get this operation moving forward. So I look forward to working with you this week. I look forward to some good quality PMIs, good quality PMI audits, and I look forward to helping you get this operation move forward. So thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys downstairs. Let's go meet up with the team.